Well, good morning. Day 2. I apologize for the background noise, but that's because we have the dehumidifier running in the hallway right over that problem spot in the floor. And it's going to stay on because let me tell you, it's already only been running for maybe overnight plus a few hours, and it is working. Friends, I cannot tell you how many comments I got on the last video about how I should be using a dehumidifier. Why don't I have one? You should really get a dehumidifier. And there was a reason that I didn't leave one running while I was gone. If we rewind to episode 8, we'll see that I just got a great deal on a dehumidifier on Marketplace. This is why I repeatedly suggest going back to watch old episodes, because I do have a dehumidifier and you can swap the bucket out for a drain hose, but on this model it's just pretty finicky and I couldn't find the right hose and adapter before leaving, so that's why I didn't run it until I was back in the house where I could physically empty the bucket on a regular basis. It's working in terms of the floor, which had previously been quite bowed. You could visibly see how swollen the wood planks were with wood. It's now almost flat. So this is the first good sign of news I've had in terms of hope combating the mold. So the dehumidifier is staying on if all we have to put up with is a bit of background noise and a really high energy bill. It's okay. Gotta save this house. So yesterday was heating and a little bit of mold remediation. Today we are switching gears a little bit because tomorrow we're supposed to get a lot of rain. So we have decided that today is going to be the day to focus on the gutters and any other sort of water control issues. What does that mean? That means that we acquired a extendable ladder from our neighbor and that we're gonna install the gutters that we purchased yesterday. We also might tackle some sort of situation in terms of either French drain or at least a quick and dirty way to shuttle the water away from the house and the hole in the foundation so that when it rains, maybe there's a small chance of keeping our basement drier. I don't know. So that's the game plan for today. Water remediation. So, gonna get some coffee, gonna get a ladder up, gonna get going with that. Also, if we have time, the same neighbor, now this is not the neighbor with the chainsaw, this is another very nice neighbor who I gave a hand with last time I was here, gave him a couple hours of my time helping him install some drywall in a house that he was renting out. So he's not only letting us use his ladder, but he also volunteered his trailer to take all of the brush that we cut down last time we were here and haul it away to burn it. He has a property outside the city. He offered to burn it. So very cool, very fun. Might get to do that too. So basically today's an outside day. And tomorrow it's going to start raining and we'll come back inside and do some more heating stuff. Okay, let's get some coffee. Taking our freshly brewed coffee outside, we discussed the plan of attack for the gutters, but first, let's throw it over to Phil at the hardware store yesterday.
I am now at Home Hardware, and they do have PVC molding. It's gonna do for what we need. So I've made myself a little kit here. We got 10-footer, bunch of clips and butt, and the downspout. The only issue is that this is the downspout we have currently, and that's the downspout. So I'm thinking with a little bit of heat and convincing, I can probably make this fit, and then I can reuse all the piping that's already at the house. So let's see how it goes. Perfect fit.
But before we head back to my sizable 3-story duplex in Nova Scotia, we're going to pause for a second here in my cozy, very much 1-story caravan here in Norway to talk a tiny bit about this little guy. Now, you may recognize this little device. I have talked about it before in previous videos. It's my UFO 3 by FOREO Sweden, who has kindly offered to sponsor yet another video. Now, I've talked about this before. It is a facial hydration device, which kind of brings all that fancy spa technology right to the comfort of your own home, or in my case, on the road, because it is actually so small and compact that I can bring my spa experience with me everywhere, even if I have crammed my suitcase full of crafting supplies, which, let's be honest, we all know that I tend to do. There's always going to be room for my UFO 3, and it is a darn good thing because it is proving indispensable to me here on tour. Now, I've talked before about how this helped me establish and solidify a good nighttime routine, and while I still use my UFO 3 daily, here on contract the routine has changed slightly because, as you know if you've been on my channel at all, I don't wear makeup in my regular everyday life. It's a fancy day when I decide to put mascara on, but obviously when I'm working, when I'm performing, I'm putting on a full face of makeup every day, and my skin is not used to that. It finds it quite hard. So now, rather than using the warm pulsations of the UFO 3 to relax before bed, instead I've been incorporating it into my post-show makeup removal routine. So I come home, I take off my makeup, clean up my face, and then I'll use the LED therapy and the T-sonic pulsations from the UFO 3 to help rehydrate my face and reduce kind of puffiness after a show. Now, I've got a wide selection of masks that I brought with me, and I just use whichever one I feel like suits my skin that day, and then I use their app to choose which setting I'd like to use. Now, some days I do still enjoy the warming cycle for its soothing and calming effects, but other days, especially here in the summer after a hot sticky show, I find going for the cooling settings is just absolutely amazing. So if that sounds divine to you and you would like to try the UFO 3 for yourself, then be sure to click the link in the description box below to get 30% off of your own UFO 3, plus the first 50 people to do so and to use my code Shannon will get an additional 10% off. So thank you to FOREO Sweden for sponsoring me here in Norway, and now let's head back to Nova Scotia.
Take that one of the long piece of wood we have for the front bench,
Yeah,
and use it as a straight edge with the level.
I mean, they're not super straight either though.
We take the one that looks the straight.
I wish we had two ladders because then I could actually help you.
Yeah, so just do a straight line with the 1/2 pitch, and then
honestly, what I would be tempted to do, wait,
the gutter hides that.
because we have to meet up with this.
Oh, but that's not the piece that's going to be on. Fits around the
Would tape be strong enough to hold it temporarily?
You're gonna remove everything on top.
And then just use the
Add
level.
pipes prop. Add pipes prop. 1/2 inch down.
Did you not just put the two end
I
brackets?
need to install the clips by themselves.
I'll be down here. I guess I'll be the gopher and the cameraman. Kind of boring, but
Oh, but you help me with the pipe. And,
oh, don't worry, you'll be mildly useful.
get the coat of white paint on that as we go.
No, because we're not gonna have time to let it dry properly anyway, and then
Who
she's gonna
cares?
make it messy. We need to be efficient today.
Yeah. I mean, if you have white paint, once all the brackets are done and it's just drop the gutter in.
Yeah, okay.
You know, slabber gutter. And
I think it's gonna be the kind of thing that we're gonna have to replace it next year. And for now, we're just doing like the ugliest, most brute force emergency repair anti-flooding job. So, and break. So you're supposed to jump out of frame. Oh. Great. Okay, so bit of an odd question, but do any of you, my viewers, live in or near St. Louis, Missouri? I'm asking because I am potentially going there for a short workshop in mid-October. I've never been there, and I would love to have some recommendations on things to see and do while I'm in the area. Also, if there is enough interest, I might do a little meetup, maybe like a small crafting session in a cafe or park or something similar to that. So if you're going to be around on the weekend of October 18th in St. Louis, Missouri, and you would be interested in hanging out, be sure to let me know. I've created a Google form. I've linked it in the description box, and I figured you could use that to submit all of your favorite local places, you know, cafes, restaurants, maker spaces if there are any, yarn shops, antique shops, salvage yards, bookstores, bonus points if they have resident cats, and anything else that I might not even have thought of. You can submit it all with that form there. Plus, I have made another optional section where you can submit your email to if you are interested in a meetup. Now, I have no interest in spamming you or collecting your emails, using them for nefarious purposes. It really just seemed like the most direct and reliable way to get in contact with everybody who might want to meet up. So, again, the link for that Google form is in the description box. Head on over there and leave me some ideas. I am looking forward to seeing all of your responses, and who knows, maybe, just maybe, they will end up in a video about the trip. So this is our current gutter situation, which I would say could definitely be improved upon.
Hot bus car, you know, with all the old style, you know, with a big wheel well. But the front engine had no cover, it was just full on V12, shiny. Are we assuming the roof is level?
More or less. I would just get a level.
I guess I can check it.
Now, I know these aren't the right tools for the job, and I also know that they aren't the best gutters for the job either. They're those cheapy plastic ones that are readily available at the nearest big box store. But look, our house needed gutters now, and I didn't have time to drive all over the province looking for nice metal gutters. And let's be honest, I also didn't have the money for the nice metal gutters. Not right now, anyway. I do know it is going to be more expensive in the long run to cheap out on the gutters today and then just have to replace them tomorrow. I do know that it is literally the Boots theory of socioeconomics in practice. And I would absolutely love to one day get some nicer gutters on this house. She deserves it. Probably the aluminum ones, though. I don't know if I'm going to spend for the copper ones, but, you know, it's still metal. They're high quality. They're, you know, more ecologically friendly. But for now, the plastic ones are doing the job quite nicely, as we will see shortly. But also, as I can report now in the present, nearly a year later, they are still going strong and they're helping to dry our basement out. So while I don't recommend taking this path if you can afford to get the better quality materials from the start, it just wasn't in the cards for us in this specific moment. What is the game plan?
And I put the high bracket half an inch down the top, as high as it goes basically. And then I'm going to bring the gutter with another bracket at the other end, make a level mark.
And then trace the gutter? You
No,
can
no.
literally hang the gutter with two brackets and then at the right grade and then trace the gutter, take the gutter off.
And then know that you have to put the screw half an inch under. That's because the screw hole is a bit lower than the top. But no, that's not what I was going to say.
Should have been.
Not sure if these are the best screws for the job, but
Well, so far so good. We've managed to get the new gutter up in place, and it looks like it's going to connect pretty easily to the existing downspout. So it's only been about an hour and we have one functioning gutter. Plus Mike the neighbor just drove by. He's going to get his trailer, so we're going to load up that brush, and hopefully we can get his extension ladder, the longer one, so that we can then tackle that gutter there. So far so good. Very great morning. So then neighbor Mike drove by and told us that he was available at that time with his trailer, and did we want to go and load up all the brush that we had chopped down back in July to get rid of it. And obviously we said yes. Now I know you haven't met neighbor Mike yet, but if you had, I'm sure you'd love him. I don't remember exactly how it was that we met, but he's always driving by our house. He's got that iconic white van, and if we're anywhere outside, he always stops for a chat, checks in with us, sees what we're working on. He's really got his finger on the pulse of the neighborhood, and for exactly this reason, he's always stopping for a chat with everyone, and he's been really helpful to us on our house journey so far, both in lending us tools and a helping hand, but also in orienting us to local resources that we wouldn't have known about. Because we are new to the town and the whole province, we really don't have a good sense of where to get things. Like, I can tell you all the best neighborhoods for dumpster diving in Montreal. I could list off my favorite thrift stores there, but I had no idea where to take scrap metal in my city, or where the local dump was. How do you dump things? How does the recycling system work? Like, just little things like that. And he's been essential for helping us to start to get a feel for just how things work in our area. Not to mention, he's also just very easy to talk with. You know, he's got all the best stories, and he's just that type of person that, you know, you wave hi to in passing, and then somehow 2 hours later, you're still both standing in the middle of the street having a chat. One of those guys. Now, we did not ask Mike to help us. We really thought he would just drop off his trailer for us to load up, but he insisted on sticking around and giving us a hand, which was very generous of him, and gave us a chance to chat. I get so many comments telling me that I really need a trailer like this, and trust me, I agree. I am on team trailer as well. I think it would be amazing to have one, and I do know it would make my life so much easier. That was pretty evident right away. Unfortunately, like so many other things, it is not in my budget at the moment. I literally just bought a house and actually a car because, fun fact about me, it was kind of my unofficial life goal to never have to own a car. Now, if you've been on the channel for a while, you know that I walk and bike everywhere. You pretty much never see me in a car pre-house videos. And I did manage to avoid owning a car quite successfully for all of my adult life. But as it turns out, my dream of restoring an old house was stronger than my goal of never owning a car. So once I bought the house, I also then had to buy a car, and like, that is a whole story in and of itself. It involves surprise, gaping large holes in the floor of my car and changing our brakes ourselves. Actually, pretty fun and straightforward, to be honest. And a whole very long weekend at Phil's father's garage, just trying to get this car in decent enough shape to drive after I purchased it. So first of all, a very public thank you to Phil and Jean for putting so many hours of free labor into this vehicle and getting it in tip-top shape. But nutshell version, let's just say that my bank account did not have the room in it for a trailer as well. Now, I love the car. It is a 2006 Toyota Matrix, and it has been amazing for transporting so many things, really, because the back seats completely fold down to be perfectly flat. So that has been really great. I have jammed so much stuff in there, but, and this is quite imperative, it does not fit a full sheet of plywood or drywall. So at some point I would absolutely love to get a trailer. I think it is going to become a necessity sooner rather than later. So I have slowly been putting money aside for that. And I've also set it as my goal on Ko-fi, which, if you're unfamiliar with the platform, it's a website similar to Patreon, except that you don't have to do the monthly subscription commitment thing. It can kind of act as a one-off tip jar for donations. So if you're one of the viewers that sat there and thought, oh honey, you really need a trailer, now you have the option to help make that wish become a reality. Now, it is a long-term goal. I'm not expecting to raise all of this money overnight, but it will just live there on the website for anyone who wants to contribute. And in the meantime, I'm just gonna be stuck borrowing Nike's trailer. You can see how gnarly and dried these branches are from sitting in the sun and air for well over a month, and it was so nice to finally be able to clear them up and get them out. Well, it's on film.
Is it?
Yeah. Mike also brought over his giant extension ladder, which you can see here, saving the day in more ways than one. Wow, what is even going on with the hair? Crazy stuff. All right, so that went really well. We filled one trailer packed to the absolute brim with sticks and twigs and logs, brush, everything from the side of my house, and it's actually really fun to be able to see the side of my house for the first time since purchasing it several months ago. And right now Phil and Mike are taking that away to be dumped, and I'm staying here and keeping an eye on the copious amounts of power tools that are just laying around the yard. And I figured while I was here, I would keep busy by grabbing maybe a shovel and a couple buckets and going down to the bottom of the hill, the intersection right at the front of my house, because there is so much gravel that has just piled up, accumulated there. Every time it rains, just a ton gets washed down and just kind of sits there. It's gotten so bad it actually filled up one of the city drains that's right there. And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is a menace to cars. Every time a car tries to pull out of the house, they get stuck in all this gravel. But also, guess what? I am in the market for some gravel. I maybe am needing to put in a French drain situation here, and even if I don't, if we decide that we're not gonna do that, I can always use gravel in my driveway. In fact, I kind of suspect that a lot of the gravel that's at the bottom of that hill came from my driveway in the first place. So let's keep busy and let's go get some gravel. Waste not, want not, they said. Let me preempt some comments by saying, yes, the city knows about the situation, and yes, they did eventually come out to clear the storm drain. It's honestly just a seasonal occurrence around here. Then Mike and Phil came back and we started with trailer load number 2, this time from the other side of the house, all of the dead brush that bordered neighbor Tim's house. Also, poor Canelle was so triggered this entire time. She just couldn't understand why we were hauling away multiple lifetime supplies worth of perfectly good sticks. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Choom! With one gutter successfully installed as proof of concept, Phil then ran back to the hardware store to pick up 3 more for the remaining 3 roof edges. Well, it is almost 7 p.m. and the day definitely did not go quite how we planned it to go, but it was still a pretty productive day. So we got 1 out of the 2 gutters up and it is good to go. The second gutter did not quite make it up because we cleared all the brush from around the house. That's great news. Now we're just going to try and do a little tiny bit more work tonight while we have just a little bit of light to prep for getting the second gutter up tomorrow. The good news is that when I looked at the forecast, tomorrow we're supposed to get a lot of rain.
I looked at the wrong forecast. So in Montreal, it's gonna rain tomorrow. But here in Nova Scotia, it's not gonna rain for another day. So we've got 1 more day of good weather to try and get these gutters up before it's gonna be, you know, an issue. So tiny bit more work tonight, then I'm gonna go to bed, wake up, do it all again tomorrow. Yeah.
I will say I do chuckle a little bit when people tell me in the comments, mainly on the bedroom renovation related videos, that I should or shouldn't paint my room a specific color because it is or isn't a relaxing color. Now, this is no judgment on the people leaving these comments. They are almost all meant in good faith, just, you know, people expressing their genuine opinions. But I do have to laugh at the same time because honestly, I'm pretty sure I could paint my bedroom walls neon green and fluo orange and I'd still fall asleep within seconds of my head hitting the pillow because these are very long days spent doing very hard work, and when I hit the hay, I hit it pretty hard.
Wow, that is really zoomed in.